It's Hanukkah and it's the last day, and we're doing here a parenting class. Hopefully the information is going to really help you parent yourself, parent those around you, not just your children, everyone around you. And as the message of the menorah, this incredible light, and the way Hashem designed the menorah was so that the light would go outward and really see that whatever we're trying to accomplish in our own self-mastery, everything we're trying to accomplish in our own self-regulation, definitely it feels nice. It feels so good when you can more live in your own skin. It's really amazing, like feeling, but that's not really the point. Although it is enjoyable to have self-regulation, to be able to really master your emotions, to be really not having to deal with guilt feelings and why did I behave that way and how come I'm feeling this way. It's really about influencing other people and to really be a walking Torah, to be that shining light, to say, wow, if this is Torah, I want it. That's the mission statement. That's why we're here, to be able to share our light. So many times in my many years of practice, people want to bring me their child and say, here's this, fix this child. And I say, I'm not a magician. God created the physical brain of a child very underdeveloped and doesn't really get fully developed till 26. And when it does, it starts to decline even after that. So you can look at even just the biological structure of the brain. We could look at Hasidus and teaches us that children have moichin de katnus. We can see that children don't have a Yetzer Tov till they're bar and bat mitzvah. And when at age 12 or 13 they have their little Yetzer Tov kind of starting to creep up into their life, it's still just the beginning. They haven't had the life experiences. They haven't had the chance to have developed their emotional mastery. We learn that the brain actually, the emotional part of the brain, the limbic part of the brain works 3 to 4 times faster than the rational part of our mind, even as adults. So when they come with a picture of who their child is, almost like a watch, and says, fix this for me, I'm like, no. You know what I'm here to do? Is to help you be at the peace with the process of allowing that child to grow with love, with acceptance, with bonding, and through that experience, and of course giving them all the tools that they can get that they don't have. But it's not even easy for us adults to have actualized these tools that we've been given for how many years? So what are we demanding and expecting? A double standard. I'm not 100% fixed. So how am I supposed to demand that this child go get the tools and get fixed? Love goes a long way. They need our support. They need us being their cheerleader, believing in them, giving them like absolute love and acceptance, even as they're failing, even as they are trying to manage. One of the books that I read that was very powerful by Dr. Green, and he writes that most parents think people, what their thoughts of dealing with a very dysfunctional child or very, aggressive, child, that they're defiant, that they are, purposely trying to trigger us, that they're manipulative, and all these different behaviors is really their cry for help. They are suffering, they're in pain. He puts a picture of a lifeguard and a child drowning. And the parents are going to the lifeguard and, like, look, he's drowning. And the lifeguard is saying, oh, he's just doing it to get attention. Or he's just, he needs to learn how to swim. And he says if you give, let's say, a child who's a midget, and no matter how many classes he'll take with Michael Jordan, the basketball player, he says, this child cannot be Michael Jordan. And we can't expect that that child should be the way your expectations is, because you yourself actually may have a different combination soul factors that are different than your child. We know Avraham was Avraham, and he had Yitzchak. And no matter how much he gave the example of being such a rodef shalom and chesed and going and campaigning and running around trying to get another person to be closer to Hashem, Yitzchak was in the tents. He had all the great example of what it is to be an incredible Jew. But Yitzchak was an incredible Jew in his own way. So we have to realize and debunk the idea that these children are oppositional, they're not compliant, they're manipulative, they're trying to get attention, they're doing it purposeful. He says the child could be drowning. So what we have to do is, first and foremost, when clients come to me and say, I have to help you more than I have to help your child. Because if you're coming with all these expectations, you're coming with disappointment and disgust, and almost like you can't forgive the child, then I have to help you realize that there's things you can do to make a more user-friendly environment so that it will promote a bonding more. I remember one woman came to me and she was saying, like this, fix my child, and a day or two later happened to be in the neighborhood and the window was open and that was her window. And she was so explosive. And then I to her child, and when I confronted her and I said, I'm sorry, but I heard, and you were a bit explosive. She's like, well, what do you expect? He's so explosive, I can't handle it. And I said, and again, I explained, this child doesn't have a fully developed brain. This child doesn't have the years of experience that you could have had and should have maybe had to be able to, have that self-regulation. You don't have the self-regulation yourself. You're saying that it's because of him. So then because of whatever, he's the way he is. Maybe he's a school teacher. Maybe there's a bully in the school. Who knows because why he's the way he is. And then she got it. Then it hit her. And then we worked on having to model the behaviors that she so wanted her child to be able to do. And I helped her really deprogram in her brain her high level of expectation of this child and see it as that possible drowning child that needs the extra care, the extra attention, the extra patience. One child can be so easy, and it's very easy to make the comparison. So it could be such a daunting task, and there can be so many variables that challenge the situation, because one parent can be very, very strict and very demanding, and the other parent is trying their best for shalom bayis reasons, to have peace in the home, not to be defined against the other parent. So there's a lot of variables that can actually get in the way, and that's the test. They say, your whole life, better to do what you can to be the example instead of shaming a person. But yet so many times parents shame their child in the name of God, or in the name of trying to give them the discipline that they need, whether it's at the Shabbos table, whether it's in a situation of between siblings. Someone's something's stuck in my throat. Okay. Let me get a cup. Oh my gosh.
Some allergies? Wait. Do you need Claritin? No? My husband might have. Do you want Claritin? Claritin?
I have to step out.
Yeah.
Can I get you water?
She's getting water. Someone went to get water, yeah.
I get this one. One second. This happened to me before with someone. I'm next to someone who has perfume. Oh my gosh.
Я видел про волонтеров и еще одну девочку рекрутили, они пошли бейбисить. Она кого-то другого брала. Она потом, ну, за ней в Раше только. Заходите.
Sorry. Is she okay?
She stepped out. She's having like a.
Okay, let me just ask. Did she go right or left?
Maybe we can leave the door open.
Did she go right or left? Here.
Right.
Эта женщина, которая много книжек, она написала эти книжки. Вот эта женщина, которая дает лекцию, она написала много вот этих детских книжек, которые продаются.
Where's your baby? And my husband. She needs to get water.
We're on the break. Okay. Maybe we can leave the door open. So maybe she. Okay. Just give me a registration here. Like that. Maybe I'll get this there. The put the pause in Torah so you can learn too.
Yeah. 101. 101.
Yeah, 101. So you can join. That's a quick, break. Yeah. That's why we left the door open. Hopefully the fish have just got up. Sorry,
А куда Мiriam пошла? Ты сказала, пошла в класс.
Что?
Она сказала, что идет в класс.
Yeah, she was here, and then the teacher she was coughing, so she's taking a little break.
Учительница?
Yeah, she's out there. She's gonna come back in, but at the same time, she'll avoid Rabbi будет делать класс 10 minutes. Да, подожду.
Что? В тот класс идешь?
Я пойду туда рядом, но я не знаю, если он начинает час или через 10 минут. So I'm gonna go. Там уже сидит, да.
Yeah, but I don't know who it was.
Did you come up to that? Come over back?
Oh, no.
Yeah. Camminare para sopra il gas.
And sparso.
Allora, let's go.
There's one side who's
Commercial break because there's another Shabbaton. Just kidding.
Wow.
There is?
Yeah, I just saw this flyer. I'm like, oh, I want to be part of it. Lake
Oh.
Tahoe.
Oh, it's Rabbi Peel.
Lake Tahoe recently. Is this
That's
the same
Rabbi
one?
Peel, yeah, he's great.
Gail, is this the one that you were telling me to? They wanted me to speak. I don't know if she's on here. Okay, Baruch Hashem. Oh my gosh. Wow. Thank you, Hashem, for every moment. Because when you experience something like that, you're even more grateful. And I have to say, I've been so grateful to reconnect with everyone here. After a couple of years last year, I was actually in Florida, so I couldn't make this Shabbaton. So I'm so happy I ended up coming here. So we were talking about, there's many variables that actually can really affect your best efforts to be that shining and rolling example. I remember once learning from Rabbi Ginsburg. It was a lecture in Hebrew, but the main message that he brought was so moving and so inspiring that since then, every day I try to live my life with these two words: don't change. And when I was coming up with this idea of not to change, because most of the time you go different places, everyone wants to change. Everyone wants to grow. Everyone wants to be inspired to be the better version of themselves. So we all know that we have everything inside of us. We don't have to change. What we're trying to do is reveal and more reveal and more reveal what's the essence and holiness of our Neshama. Well, the same thing with our children. We're not telling them, don't be. We're not pointing our fingers and saying, change. No, you're so godly, you're so holy. You have so much potential. Your infinite potential is inside you. Let me be the example and lead the way of how not to let life, people, circumstance change you. So his teaching was 13 attributes of Hashem mercy. The two names of Hashem are the same. Hashem, Hashem. And normally we say this all of the high holidays and the tefillos and Some do Monday and Thursdays, different customs. But why the same two names if there are 13 different attributes? What is the lesson in that two names not being different? So his teaching was the first name of Hashem is Hashem, who's merciful just because he's merciful. The second name of Hashem is merciful after someone sinned against them. Hashem doesn't change. He's merciful, he's merciful. Whether someone is kind to them, respectful to him, loving him. So what's the message for us? Someone behaves not so nice, the child has a tantrum, the behavior is out of line. We work to be like Hashem and not to let them change us. Like the whole message of the Hanukkah light, don't let someone else snuff your light. You're a light. You rise above, show that self-regulation, show the love. It's not that you're not supposed to discipline. Of course you have to discipline. If you don't discipline, Avshalom, the son of David HaMelech, did not have discipline. He became a murderer. We do have to discipline, but there's difference in the way you discipline. You can be firm, you can establish the borders, but with love or with ego or with an emotion of negativity. And it's the same thing with all relationships, not just with children. When you have adult children as well. So we see that we have to take the proper steps to really unlocking the child's potential. Number one is be modeling that potential that you want in them. Don't let your Yetzirah trick you that because they're behaving this way, you lose your cool. You lose the way you respect them. God forbid by shaming, God forbid by name calling, or comparing, and a lot of lists of other things. So we see that, we have to try our best to notice what's going on around them. And he gives an amazing example, like a car that's in vapor lock. Have you ever seen a car? Happened to be many times. You're putting the key in, and you're putting the gas, nothing's happening, and the car actually is overheated and it's in a vapor lock. So children sometimes are in a situation where they're in a meltdown mode and they're in a locked position. Their brain is not to be seen. Their heart is not to be seen. No words, no manipulative type of conversation to convince them, nothing. And then you might get more upset, and then they get more explosive and more, because the situation goes from 0 to 100 in a very fast pace, and there's a meltdown situation. So you have to be aware, where are they holding? Are they capable of maybe they're super hungry. No matter what you say or do, they just need food. Maybe they're so super tired. Maybe they are so hurt from something that happened. Many people can't transition so easily. Some children have poor sensory intelligence, that they can't handle the transition. Their sensory mode goes on fire compared to another child. So we just don't know. But we're trying to strengthen our bond with the child even when he's most unlovable. To say, I love you, I know you're going through something strong, what can I do to help? Just being there, holding them. They may not want you to be held sometimes. So we have to really try hard to increase our empathy of what they're going through. We have to really try our best to decrease their defenses when they are going through this challenge. Now, if we're consistent and we're dedicated to this route, eventually we will bear the fruit. Eventually, we will see small, little, incremental changes when we handle it better and better. So we want, first of all, to try to decrease their insecurities. Because if mommy and daddy don't love me or think I'm not capable, and my teacher and the kids are bullying me, you know, where are they going to be? Their number one cheerleaders are mommy and daddy. And when we can give them that parameter of love and acceptance, then we can help strengthen their self-esteem. This will have a great ability to manage their failures so that they don't see it as a failure. They don't see it that they slipped up that badly. Because when you normalize things and you say, you know what, when I was a kid, or even when I was an adult, I tried this and I took a test and I whatever it is, and you help them through the process of realizing that, you know, it's not out of the ordinary. Even if it is, the more you can normalize it a little, the more you save their self-esteem, the more they feel normal, the more they can breathe through it and be more normal, even if they are one of those more difficult children. I mean, definitely there's sometimes you have to check their diet if they're not eating enough, they're eating wrongly, people are allergic to certain foods some kids are more super sensitive and have glucose intolerance, and so they really get affected more by sugar and food coloring than the average person. So they may have developmental deficiencies that you're not aware of. Some people may not know that they have dyslexia for a while, and we don't know as parents sometimes the struggles that they're going through because they have these deficiencies. Dr. Green actually says that the parent's empathy is the access code to the child's brain. And it literally helps the child see that their parents are their cheerleaders and advocates rather than their adversaries, which typically can happen. Embarrassment of how the child's behaving, comparing one with the other, and then they see the parent as an adversary, not as a advocate. So when we actually see the child for who he is and the needs that they have, then we can talk business. Then we can unlock the powers of the Neshama. We see what is emotional intelligence that we want so much to our children to have. It's not such a big deal to have a high IQ. You have intelligence, you know this, you know that, but when you can't really live it, when you can't actualize it, then what's it worth? You know, the Gemara says, who is the happy person? He or she who knows what to say and when not to say it. When we have the power, when we can actually almost like see somatically what is our body going through because of the way they behave. Maybe your heart is going like this. Maybe your stomach is all tight. Maybe your face is all... When we can see in our body that we're offline and about to be in a not so good place, that's not the time to deal with the situation. We have to take a deep breath. We could say, look, maybe go to your room, I'll go to my room, let's think it through, because you're uptight, you're noticing in your body that they triggered you, that they bothered you. Then you can start to speak when you're calmer, when you're thinking things through. Then that is when you're modeling emotional self-regulation. Then you're showing what it is to have a high EQ. To have that emotional intelligence to feel out the situation You know, he's so tired right now. No thing you're going to say and no preaching him is going to help. So why am I getting all revved up? Like, do I have to, as if I don't fix this situation, if I don't say what I have to say now, then it's over. No. It's over if you speak in a hot temperament. It's over when you just burned another bridge to that child. That's when it's over. There were some tzaddikim, 2 weeks they didn't talk about an incident with their child till they were regrouped and able to talk with their child. So we have to really understand there is no quick fix. Not in our husbands, not in our wives, not in our children, even more so. It's not going to be like you do this and it's going to fix it. This is a long-term plan. This development, just like 9 months it took for the baby to develop and then some, sometimes 2 weeks overdue. Just like in ourselves, it takes how many years and we still didn't crack the code? How much more for them? I call it the fix him or fix her syndrome. That's not possible. The baby doesn't go from crawling to running a marathon, so his brain isn't fully developed. It's not going to happen. And we're so expecting, like, you know, like, about face, you know? Like they're marching to some kind of, you know, goal in a day to get someplace. So we have to maintain the coherence. We have to model this kind of behavior, and we're not sometimes. And so we have to be at peace with ourselves, and we have to be at peace with them. So when they are in a state of inflexibility, and if God forbid we're in a state of inflexibility, that equals meltdown, total meltdown. The child will not be able to handle it. So if the child's having a meltdown and you're feeling like you're having a meltdown, exit the situation as best you can. Amazing book that I read many years ago, How to Speak to, so kids will listen. But he also brings a lot of similar things in his book. And he says that, you know, you got to break the ice and have tools like how to, like, you know, I forget the author of that book, but like she says you can bring a magic wand and like fake it till you make it that you're happy and make some kind of scene like, oh, I wish, like the one, you know, I wish I had the box of Cheerios that you want right now in my magic world. Voila, here it is, and voila, and like try to break the energy. Another example, Dr. Ross being, if you're in a car and the baby youngster got into the front seat, wants to drive, doesn't want to leave. And most situations, get out of the car, we have to leave. No, tantrum, you gotta leave, and almost forcing, wildfire. So he suggests, take a different approach. Go where they're at, where they're feeling. They want to drive. So even 1 minute could save the day. Say, wow, you already know how to drive? Oh, I have a brake. I can sit in the back. I don't have to go. And then like break the ice and say, oh, I wish you knew how to drive. But you're going to learn how to drive one day. And I can't wait till I teach you. Or like play with tactics of drama, mystery, and fun. Yes, you're rushed. Yes, you know how many times, like, let's say my husband asked me to do something and I'm rushed, or vice versa even sometimes. And like, we discuss how busy we are. By the time the minute that we're discussing how busy we are, we could have helped them or gave them the coffee or whatever it is. Like, that 1 minute will save you the 10 minutes of the tantrum that you can't concentrate, can't use your phone because they're kicking and screaming. You think you're busy? You think that you don't have 2 minutes to like play a game? Trust me, it works. So many times situations happen, I would go out of the door and I'm like, oh my gosh, the HR! Oh my gosh, the HR is getting me! Because I would feel like I'm about to lose my cool, but I had to like switch to the drama part, run away from the HR, close the door, and I'd be like, where is it? They go, mommy! Broke the ice, when they were arguing, sometimes fighting, and then they go, Mommy, why'd you go out of the house? Why'd you go out of the house? I'm like, did you see there was a big Yetzirah here? I was scared. Like drama. Then all of a sudden they start laughing, gone. And there was a situation brewing for nothing I was doing was laughing. So I happen to be a little dramatic. Some people are not comfortable, but take my Tanya 101 drama class. You can learn too. I'm telling you, works. It's worth it. How many times people take this class and like, take a 101 Tanya drama class? Because in the Tanya actually says, fake it till you make it. He doesn't say it that way. But he says, you think you're fooling yourself and you're acting a certain way, you don't feel it. Force yourself. It becomes second habit. Now that second habit actually is who you really are, he says. It's not really faking it till you make it. You are making it because you are you. It's getting back to the core of who you really are. But you have to find ways to not be inflexible when they are so inflexible. So how can parents possibly help their children? And why do sometimes the most popular interventions don't work? Because again, we can't really fix the child. We have to, it's a team work. Now trust me, before Hasidus, I was so super depressed for some of the things I learned I had a bachelor's in psychology and a bachelor's in marriage in child development. I had a master's in marriage and family counselor, double bachelor's and double master's of psychology. None of it was helping me. And all this information almost can't help. Because when your animal soul is on fire and you haven't done the soul work to diminish your ego, tools will come in your hand, in your ear, out your ear, done. And so then I got so depressed. Like, I'm supposed to be this major therapist and I can't even get it right in my own life, in my own family. Because the traditional way of teaching all these tools doesn't deal with the Neshama, doesn't deal with the animal soul, doesn't deal with the Yetzirah, doesn't deal with the fact that the Alter Rebbe teaches us, as I said first, children only have their Yetzer Tov to their bar and bar mitzvah, and just a little bit. Doesn't address the fact that the brain of a child, is small, and doesn't have the capacity to learn things like we as adults can't learn either, things, and actualize things. So we have to understand that we have more the key to anything. And when we have that loving, friendly environment, and when we have the unconditional love, and when we increase our gestures to be more sincere with them, not demanding, not expecting, not looking down at them, realizing their challenge. I don't know if you were there Friday night, since we couldn't record. Was it Friday night when I was asked to speak out of schedule? Rabbi Katzin asked, who was there when I did the parenting? So we had a whole other parenting class that night, spontaneous. I don't know if I want to repeat everything. It was really a lot of powerful information, but the essence is that Hasidus teaches us that compassion actually has the power to redeem other people. And in many stories in Judaism, we'll see how when Yaakov wept on Rachel, it was something symbolic for all of us to learn for eternity. Weeping is the compassion. He wanted to empower every soul of the next generation from time immemorial till the end of days to have compassion. Rachel represents the Klal Yisrael. When Rivka actually asked her son, her son to go and get the blessing in a trickery way, and Yaakov says, Oh my gosh, you feel like an Esau. Wow, but there's a Kol Yaakov. So what was that all about? To teach us. Someone might have Esau-like behaviors, but don't forget the Kol Yaakov inside. The true Neshama is there. Or in the Pesach Seder, when we say that we should blunt the teeth of the wicked. First of all, we don't call people wicked anymore. That's not the way they're challenged, they're hurting. And so blunting the teeth means they're sharp. They're biting you with their words. They're rude. They're disgusting. Blunt it. Don't see it as so sharp. See it as they're in pain. They're suffering. Blunt it. Unconditionally love them. When Yosef was in the casket and the waters did not split, what was the message there? Again, waters, split. Here's the Jewish people. What Jewish people? 49th level Tuma. They look like not Jews, the way they were behaving. Inside the casket, the buried bones of Yosef. Also a symbolism. You can't see. Who is this person? Esav-like. Inside, etzem, from atzamon, is the essence of the person's soul. Don't forget. This is a neshama. This is like, the Rabbi would say, you have to treat everyone like he's the king of all kings. Because they're the son of the king. We have to respect, we have to model that message to our children by respecting them in whatever way we can. So even though you have insincere gestures and you're trying to fake it, but it will lead to sincere gestures. Eventually you cultivate this kind of way of thinking. You have like a 365 degree, whoosh, car wash in your mind, and really zone in on these types of ways of relating with people, not just your own children, your husband, it's across the board. This is it. This is why we're here on the earth. So some ideas, and there's so many tips here. I actually gave this course, training therapists how to train parents. Later you'll see all the pictures. I didn't show all the pictures of unconditional love here. There is also the drowning child. I should have showed it. I don't know why I'm not showing. I didn't see it, but I'll show you the picture of the drowning child. You see, we talked about the lifeguard and the drowning child, and it says here, we're encouraging people to become involved in their own rescue. Like, oh no, he needs to learn how to swim by himself. He's drowning. So where do we left off? So some ideas of reflect. So, if you look at the word listen, it's silent. Really, if you rearrange the letters, we need to be capable of listening and being silent so that whatever they're going through, they will understand what their emotional, what emotionally they're going through. Sometimes we just react. We're supposed to go. Hello, there's a child there? What's going on with them? Listen, why? You really have to feel it's not an assembly line here. It's not like they're not human. How many times I see people treating like as if they're not human? Like if they don't have feelings, like they're just some item. How many times in the market? Oh, that market woman. The whole story about market women. You go there and you see them and how they behave sometimes to their children in public. I only wonder what's going on in the private doors of their own home. This is a child. Has feelings. This is like you're building the Mashiach of the next generation. Now, I'm not judging anyone because I was there. When you don't have Hasidus to help you refine and channel your animal soul, The ferocious lion can come out in most strangest ways that you're so shocked with yourself, you don't even believe it's you. For some of us who has more fire temperament, for some of us who have more bigger Yetzaharas, everyone has their own Gilgul, maybe two has a lot more ferocious lions under their pocket, and then a Gilgul 1000, no judgments to the person who has a ferocious lion as a Yetzahara. A bigger lion, no judgments. We are ego, we are human, and things hurt, and we're triggered. Lack of sleep, oh my gosh. Lack of eating because you have so much on your to-do list. So whatever way we interact, we have to do the number one goal is to have a faster and greater chance of bonding. Every step, is this going to help me bond or not? How I'm handling this, is it going to be a bond or not? Of course, the Torah tells us shaming someone is like death. Literally. One of the 10 commandments is do not kill. And the Devar Torah is, do we kill? Come on. We the people, do we kill? Why is it one of the 10 commandments? Because when we shame someone, it's like killing them. And being killed and killed again. Now, we can't be so scared of, if I do this, if I do that, they're going to wrap their finger around us, they're going to then really have control over us. No, I'm not saying laissez-faire. No. X. You don't want an Avshalom in your life. They need discipline. They need borders. But there's a way to reflectively listen. And really understand what they're going through. So for instance, there's a child who's really scared. Now a lot of times people say, stop it already. Your older brother who's 5 is, your younger brother that's 5 isn't scared, and maybe he's 7. Why are you acting like such a baby? How shaming is that? How discounting his real feelings. Maybe he's born with a fiery temperament and he's the more anxious type. It's not his fault. He's been born with this extra gvura, extra yira. He doesn't know how to channel it. So instead, even if you were never scared of the dark, oh, I remember I used to be scared of the dark. It is scary. Reflective listening, what he's going through, talk to him. Oh, I'll take you down, I'll take your hand, let's go together. Oh, it's scary, yes. Oh, can you hold me? Whatever way to make them feel that you hear what they're going through. Take the time. But I have to do this and I have to get to there. Who has time for this? You'll be doing drama scenes all your life. But you know what? All your life they're going to remember those moments. It is going to be a big payoff. And they'll joke with you and laugh with you and love you because of the way you handle those situations in your own creative way. So, a way to say is, wow, gosh, you fell down? Oh, how painful that is. Don't sweep it under the rug. Oh, you're a big boy, it's okay, you'll get over it. They're crying hysterically. What if, let's say, you went to your husband and said something, oh, come on. That was nothing. Get over it. Why? You're opening your heart. You're sharing how much you hurt, and then you close the door in your face. Children have the same feelings. Can't imagine. You know how many stories people tell me in their nightmares of their childhood and how the behavior, and they just remember the bad. They just remember. I can go on for 3 hours on this. Now, very important, the child's brain does not know the difference between things that we may so easily be able to, generally speaking, the brain hates no. Science shows it. Anything in the negative, first of all, it can frazzle people's circuits of the brain. One word. I mean, it's really serious. One negative word and it can jolt a brain in a way that it's hard to get refixed and out of it for a while. So there's what's called positive reframing. And you have to say it in an affirmative way. For instance, instead of saying, no, you can't jump on the bed, say, wow, you love jumping? You can jump on the trampoline right here. So instead of no and commanding, say yes. They love it. Oh yeah, I can jump on the trampoline. Then they go. But as soon as you say no, the brain can't handle it, and they're defiant, and they're very difficult for you to then, now it's going to be a power struggle. How dare they tell me? You know what the Torah says about the teaching of why Hashem said Bachar Banu? He wanted to be our choice. So it comes from ourselves. That's why in parenting classes they'll teach you, if you have to give them a command, don't give them a command, give them a choice. And then they choose which one. And then they're going to choose, oh, I chose this. So for instance, if a child has to go to the sleep, and you can say, you can put your pajamas first, or you can brush your teeth first. Which one do you want? You gave them a choice to listen. If you say, no, you can't watch this anymore, you have to end it, it's time to go to bed, all of a sudden they're gonna like lock their knees together and dig their feet to the ground and not listen.
I have a question. What if they don't like the choices? Like my kids, they don't like the choices. I say this or that, they don't like any of them.
Right, so but you have to somehow figure out a way what's going to be exciting for their choice. There is rewards and punishment, and that does help a little bit, but it's because sometimes kids don't like prizes, and they don't like, and I don't say just treats, but you know, because you don't want to attach emotional, you know, things with food. Although the Rambam does say nuts and this, and you could, but now the Rabbi said actually in this generation, clearly stated by the Rabbi, that children want now from the source of the goodness to be able to do the right thing, and you don't have to use as many tricks and as many. You have to just teach them the
Yeah, but what if they don't? I agree. I mean,
right. It's not easy, but you have to see what they do want as a choice. So you could say, you can go to bed on time now, and let's say they love, I don't know, Sundays to do this and this. So you have a choice. You can go to bed on time now, and then you'll get this amazing that they want. It has to be something that they're interested in, and kind of, in a way, flat out bribe, but in a smart way. So they don't see it as a bribe, but so that they're motivated to make the right choice.
the problem is, I mean, they're young. I mean, you want to teach them. I mean, I'll give you an example. I have a 6-year-old who hates going to sleep. Everyone else I could convince and drive and whatever. Him, no matter what, he just doesn't like to go to sleep.
That's what I'm saying. Sometimes the bribing won't work.
But nothing works.
Right.
So what do you do? I mean, he'll stay up till 10:30
Well,
because he'll come out of the room,
right.
he'll play in the hallway,
Right.
he'll do this, he'll hang out in the living. No matter for any reason, he'll come out,
right.
and then he'll be cranky and sleepy in the morning.
Oh, no.
And then it's like such a hard thing to deal with in the morning because then I have to wake him up for school, and then he's miserable. Like everything irritates him.
Right,
You know.
of course. So you could try to do things right before bed, to whether it's a bath or whether it's story time, cuddle time, and like get him, depending, some kids don't like that either. Each one is a mountain of their own Neshama, and each one has to be dealt with in such a sensitive way and try to crack their code. It's not easy. These are not quick fixes, and it's not like do this and that's it, he's gonna listen. But the key point of this class is don't lose your cool. Don't change. Be compassionate, be loving, being the example of handling a very, challenging situation. Trust me. Sometimes silence is the key. Silence is very golden, and just letting them see your response with your eyes, because no words can like really get to them. Sometimes just seeing that look of like this is wrong, and we just have to love them as is, as hard as that can be sometimes. And try one's best to, not to be too much of a lecturer, not to be too much overloading them with too much information, trying our best to, go on a kosher language diet, saying less, just like you're on a diet and you eat less, so you go on a kosher language diet and you say less. Sometimes less is so much more. So these are some of the things we just have to be aware of and make it much easier for them to then really listen to us when we do speak. I know we had some delays here and we are probably over the time of I was looking at my watch, but I'm so happy we had this time together to realize that just like Rambam at age 40, it's never too late. We can continuously, like the menorah teaches us, use that oil that we have, use it appropriately, use our koach to help others shine in whatever way we can, breathe through it, dance through it, have fun through it, make light of things, break the ice of things, and have your number one goal, not to let them change you. To be compassionate, to be loving, unconditional love, and please God will really have the key to their redemption, and at the same time keep our own redemption. Thank you for insisting that we make up the class.
Sorry for
I'm
taking
so
your time.
happy.
Thank you so much.
No, there was just so much more, but
And you still did it.
I said Hashem help me. I don't know. Yeah, I'm still feeling a little stuff from the allergy attack. I haven't had allergies in I don't know, so many years. So, but it passed. Thank God.
Thank you so much for taking your time on a Sunday.
Thank you.
Doing it.
Blessings to everyone.
So you said